All right, guys, welcome to the Ravit Show and happy Wednesday to everyone. It's midweek. I hope you're having a great week already. And don't forget to let me know where you're joining from. Today, I'm very happy because one reason for being very happy is yesterday I won, the Ravit Show won the best talk show award at the data community. And this wouldn't have been possible without your support, the audience, people who watch. Thanks for voting, everyone. And the second thing why I'm very happy is because I have a very special guest. It's none other than Matt Brattin, because Matt is one of the best person I would say in analytics that I know. And Matt is a little about Matt is the founder of TMB Analytics, VP of Analytics at a SaaS company, and analytics career course creator and coach and whatnot. So we'll be talking a lot around his journey around analytics, about his YouTube channel, about his training, and much more. So I hope everyone's ready for Matt here. Without any further ado, let's have Matt here. Matt, welcome to the Ravit Show. How do you feel?
Oh man, I feel great, and I think congratulations is in order for your recent victory in the awards there. So that's great. I'm happy for you.
Thank you very much. Such an honor, because it's just not even been a year since I started the Ravit Show, but obviously there has been an immense support from the community. And community, it's not possible without the guests like you who visit the show and share such golden nuggets with the audience. And about analytics, I'm just so eager to learn today more from you, Matt. And we have a few people here joining in as well. So let's just greet them. Shruti is here. Hey, Shruti. We have Abe here.
Hey, Abe, what's up, man?
Thanks, Shruti. It's just the people who make it, obviously special for the Ravit Show. It's the audience. So thank you very much, everyone. Kishan is here from UK. Hey, Kishan. Ron is here. So looks like the house is getting, just
people popping
built up. Yes. By then, how about you introducing yourself, Matt, and letting people know who you are and where you're coming from and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you did a really good job just giving the super high level overview. I'm currently the VP of Analytics for a SaaS company and founder of TMB Analytics. It's just a little passion project side hustle I got going on, but I think just a little bit about myself so people have a sense for, where I'm coming from. I've been in the analytics game for the past 16 years. About every job title that I've had throughout my professional career has had some derivative of the word analyst in the title. And I've spent all that time working my way up. I started as a junior analyst, into an analyst, to a senior analyst, to a manager of an analytics team, director, senior director. Now I'm a VP. So I've done the walk. And I'm here and just super excited. I'm passionate about the field. I love where it's going. And, when I got my start, it wasn't nearly as big and sexy and exciting as it is today. So I'm fortunate that I got in when I did. I'll say
exactly. So almost 16 years. And did you even think of, 16 years back that analytics will be something this big? Or no. Was it, you never imagined about it? And how does it feel right now?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I think the evolution of the data landscape has just been insane, and the field wouldn't blow up if it wasn't for data collection and the advancements in our ability to collect data, systems that are doing better. They realize that, hey, there's a lot of value in this information. Maybe we should be collecting that and trying to use it to improve our business processes. So when I got in, I think we're going to talk about this, but I was a financial analytics. I did finance. That was my thing. And so finance is money and numbers. And so you're analyzing those particular numbers, and they just happen to be money, right? So I could have never imagined, the scope beyond money at that point, that there's all this other user data and other things. So I guess the answer is no, but I'm glad that we're here.
Yeah, definitely. And Kate is here. Kate says she likes your t-shirt Analyst stuff. So what does it say? Okay, you have TMB Analytics, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's your
Thanks,
brand,
Kate.
if I'm not wrong.
I
That's your
missed
brand.
that. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Thanks,
yeah,
Kate.
okay. So since you were talking about finance, Matt, I know your education was mostly into finance. So how did you break into data analytics, or was it breaking into analytics and then you got into data analytics, or it's still very much limited to analytics? How does it work?
Yeah. So how can I explain this concisely? If you would ask me when I was in grad school what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have told you a stockbroker. The reason I would have told you a stockbroker was because what I thought that those people did was sit down and analyze companies and decide on investment strategies and things like that. It
Hmm.
wasn't until I did an internship with a stockbroker that I realized, no, this is a sales job. This isn't, I'm not actually sitting and analyzing. That's what the actual analysts do. And
Right.
I learned from that, okay, this isn't what I want to do, but what is it that I want to do if what I want to do is analyze? So I talked to the dean of my business school. I was like a junior at the time and told him, hey, I want to analyze companies. What should I be doing? And he recommended I get into commercial banking
Right.
on the analytics side. And the explanation was you have an opportunity to get in and get dirty with all of the financial data from a bunch of companies. You understand how to evaluate risk, mitigate risk, find out what makes companies basically investment worthy of the bank's
Right.
resources. And so that's what I did. That's what I got into was commercial banking as a credit analyst. And it just evolved from there. It starts with that, you get that framework. And then I went off and got my master's and I got in with the parent company of Travelocity.com. And I was doing financial analytics, but finance was like a central hub within the organization. And all departments sort of brought their analytical needs to the finance people. So I was one
Right.
of them. So if IT needs hardware, they'd come to me and I'd have to build a business case proving using data why they should be allowed to do that. Marketing wants to change a widget, they got to come through me, that sort of thing. So it just evolved from there, from financial data into all other types of data.
Awesome. I think that's a I wouldn't say that's a odd journey, because that's a
Yeah.
journey. I think back then, years back, it would have been that way itself.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between someone who's wanting to get into analytics right now? What would be your suggestion for someone who wants to break into analytics?
Yeah, I think so. One of the reasons that I've started building one of the reasons I built TMB Analytics, to be honest, is to facilitate training for the gaps that I see in the marketplace right now, which is folks coming out, they're super excited about the tools, the methods, the things that you can actually do, the big sexy stuff, right? But they don't
Right.
necessarily have the grounding in understanding having the business acumen, understanding the flows of money and resources throughout an organization. So adding that perspective,
Right.
so that's where I think that people should actually be a little bit more focused. It's great to get certificates. It's great to up your technical skills, but also take the time to understand a business model. Like for a SaaS company, what is their business model? How does it work? How do they make money?
Right.
All roads go back to the pocketbooks, right? So understanding how money is made will help you make smarter decisions as you're analyzing different opportunities.
Right, I can only imagine. So, uh, uh, before I get on to the questions that audience have, there's a question from Vineet saying there is something that we are giving away today. So, what's that?
Yeah.
Tell us more about it.
Yeah. So we're going to be giving away a couple of, I guess, what do you call it? Access to what is my newest product. It is the Analytics Interview Secrets Workshop. This is something I've actually been working on for several months. And I'm just
Awesome.
now wrapping up filming, and I've got a bunch of editing that I'm going to be doing tonight and tomorrow night and the night after. And hopefully next week it's going to go live. But this is my whole intent behind this workshop is to sort of demystify things that I don't even know that people realize need to be demystified about interviews in general, but
Exactly.
specific to analytics interviews, where I want people to see what happens on the other side of the table, what happens behind the scenes. We
Right.
talk about in analytics context being king. Well, you need context for what happens during a hiring process. So I'm giving visibility to the motives of an interviewer, the ways to get their attention, to speak their language, and all of that's going to be broken down in this workshop. And I'm really excited about it, and I hope that people are also excited about learning about it and giving me feedback so that I can make it better and better. And we're going to add Q&As and just keep appending it and building out new branches to that product. So I'm very excited about it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So anyone and everyone here who's joining in, if you want to actually win the Analytics Secrets interview workshop, what you need to do is just type in hashtag TMB Analytics, and you'll be in. And we are giving away two of those.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Okay,
And for
fantastic.
people who are watching the show, I think we're going to talk about it in a minute, but I'm going to be
Yeah.
giving everybody a promo code to use if that's something that you choose to do, and I'll explain how to get front row access to that.
Yeah. So TMB Analytics is something that you need to just type in the chat if you are wanting to win the secret behind, obviously, the interview secrets. And thanks for that, Matt, obviously. Okay, so moving on, I had a question from Vineet that I wanted to pick, a very interesting question. Um, Matt, is it mandatory to have experience in some domain like finance to do good in analytics, since you are coming from a finance background?
No, that's the hard answer.
Yeah,
With the catch, there's always a catch, is that you don't necessarily need the experience, but you need to be able to demonstrate and communicate that you understand those things. It's no different than I may not have a degree or a certificate that says that I know how to use XYZ software or whatever, but if I have the ability to articulate that I have those skills through one means or another, that's what's important. So if you understand financial concepts, you understand business models, and you can explain them coherently. No, I am not going to care if you don't have explicit experience. I know there are people, usually larger organizations are going to have much more stringent guidelines on experience expectations, but the little cheat
right.
code is that they're not always checking every single box, right? It's they want to have a conversation with you first to make sure that, hey, if your profile looks good, let's talk to this person. And if you demonstrate that you know it, then that experience is not necessary.
Wow, definitely that kind of answers Vineet's question, definitely. But the hard answer is no. You don't need to be a finance person to get into analytics. It's completely a different ball game
100%.
altogether.
No, no, you don't.
Okay. Fantastic. So another question I'm picking, and then I have a question for you, Matt,
Sure.
from Shruti Jain. A great question. So, how different is learning data analytics and actually working as data analyst in analytics teams?
Mhm.
Because she just got an internship and looks at it, how different it is, or how we think about this before and after job. So, yeah.
Hmm. Well, so I have to also caveat this response in that just reminding everyone that I don't have formal training as an analyst, right? It was all on the job. So I've only ever lived in the world where it's hard-won experience, but I can give this response based on feedback I've heard from people like her who've been, getting into the field, and they give their reactions. And I think that some of the biggest differences are when you're learning something, you're not necessarily thrown into the deep end right away. And in analytics,
Right.
the deep end is like dirty data, imperfect, ambiguous requests, or completely unclear expectations, just vacuous requests, and having to understand and decipher and communicate in order to even get the information. So in a formal training setting, you're probably just handed a data set and given a question. Can you answer this question? Yes or no? They may have some gotchas in the data set, but in general, it's like a objective, resources, answer. Whereas in the real world, it's someone may just be passing by your desk and they ask a question, hey, what's going on with sales last week? And then they just, oh, I got to run. And you're like, was that a request? Am I supposed to do something? And then all of a sudden you're looking at charts and building visuals and trying to say, oh yeah, something weird did happen. And then you got to dig in. It's not always just cut and dry, this specific request. And even then, the data is super dirty. I'm looking at Susan Walsh a little bit ago, the classification guru. She loves some dirty data, but She wrote the question, data or data? And
That
I am team data, but I got love for all types of data as well.
fantastic answer to the question. And this is how Suzanne is your data or data. Your data team, that's amazing. Dirty data, yes, but no.
Yes, but no.
So, exactly. So, talking about your company that you've incorporated last year, TMB Analytics, I had a question because you just incorporated it somewhere last year, and pandemic hit, right? So, how difficult was it during the pandemic to just move on and get to that next level where you believe that TMB analytics will work out, and it did work out very well. I know there's a YouTube channel. I know there are courses that you're creating, and there's much more. So tell us the story. How did you actually, you had that confidence in you that it will grow?
Yeah, I think it's important to note, just full disclosure, this is actually my fourth company that I've started. I've always had a
Wow.
wild hair for entrepreneurship, and each company that I've been involved in creating from this point or up to this point has been learning experience, right? So they've all been started, created, built up momentum, and then I cut them off for one reason or another. This is
Mhm.
the first time that I've created something based on like actual passion, personal motivation, planets aligning, that sort of thing. And I couldn't be more excited about this one. It's already done much better than any of the other crazy creations I've been involved in. And I'm just super excited. And I'll tell you the way that this all came to be, I guess I fall under the classification that a lot of folks are falling into these days, where there's like these pandemic businesses that are being started, particularly in the educational space. So I acknowledge I'm not unique in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot of people who stuck at home the past year and a half plus and growing, uh, who have looked for ways to occupy their time, and a lot of people have
Exactly.
chosen to work on improving themselves and educating themselves on different things. And so that where there's a need, people are going to provide. So there's been a lot of businesses popping up in this space, and at the risk of sounding opportunistic, it wasn't actually that way for me. What happened was, up until early 2020, I was regularly running workshops at a local university, guest speaking, guest lecturing, uh, doing a lot of mentoring. I was part of a mentorship program. All of these things, that was like all of my free time was
Right.
volunteering and doing all this work. So I've got this curriculum built up, a lot of experience helping people. And so when COVID hit, all of those opportunities dried up because people aren't meeting in classrooms. They're not necessarily
Exactly.
technologically set up to accommodate. And I just had this itch, like, well, now what do I do? So
Exactly.
I actually, my last company was a CPA firm, and I started working with the CPA who I partnered with to take over that book of business. And then that evolved into TMB Analytics. So we spun up an entity, and I've started to migrate all of my materials basically that I've been using the past many years into product. And to kick that off, I wanted to build an audience because I've never been super active on social media. I uploaded my first videos on YouTube at the end of January. So I'm trying to get an audience going so that I can start to share more of the content that I've created over the years. That's really it.
Wow, but such a great journey, and obviously, like you mentioned, that you're no unique where you were talking more about education in the pandemic, and you've started something to educate people. You always had that side hustle, which kind of stopped in, but then obviously pandemic hit, and then you have something new. So how? Where do you see TMB Analytics? I know it's very early to ask something like that, but where do you see it going in next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah. It is early, but at the same time, not, because I've had this big vision for quite a while where I think if you go to tmbanalytics.com, first of all, don't judge me because I've built this completely on my own. But you can start to see some of my vision in that I've got this like mastermind series that walks through the journey of an analyst, sort of that I've gone through myself, where the first big milestone is what I'm calling analytics career access. So this is for anybody who's trying to get in to the field of analytics. So be you a student who's trying to jump in or a professional who's wanting to, migrate over, doesn't matter. This whole milestone is going to be built around all of the things that relate to access. So if you scroll down just a little bit, I see you brought up the website. That video kind of walks you through everything. Obviously, we don't need to watch that right now.
Yeah.
But if you scroll down, so this is the group here. So access is what I'm working on right now. I've got the volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, get in, be seen, make an impact. So this workshop, the Interview Secrets workshop, is part of the access program. That's why it's an access essentials component. And I want to finish building out the rest of the access milestone, which is going to include like practicum with case studies and portfolio building, how to apply for jobs. All of that is going to be in the access program. And that's going to take a lot of time. From there, we're going to get into Career Accelerate, which is all about, okay, you got in, you're the dog chasing the bus, you finally caught the bus. What do you do? How do you be seen? And then finally ascend, which is, growing in your career.
Wow. So it's like, as I asked you, which is something which is a long term. This is a long term plan. It looks like a very very long term plan, because you have actually set up something which is for everyone who wants to get into analytics and grow in that field, from beginner to being someone to a professional level, a master. It covers all. So is that the module that we are giving today? And or is it something different?
It's the first component of that module. So
okay,
I guess thing number one, if you go there, you see there's a option to click and you can sign up for my free training. I would recommend everybody do that. That's how you get on my mailing list. I 100% don't spam. I don't even have an email, whatever you want to call it. If you get an email from me, I hand wrote that and I sent it to you. And the only reason I'm going to do that is to let you know, hey, this course is about to launch, so here's the information that you need. So it's one module of the bigger course, and that's going to get you access to that module, and then you'll have opportunities to upgrade as you work through. There's also going to be, so another thing that's not pictured there yet, but it's something that I'm working on is I guess in the educational space, I never thought that I would go this route, but there's the DIY, which is do it yourself, which is take this course and can learn. And then there's the done for you model, or partially done for you model, which is where I think coaching and other things come into play. And I've had so many people ask for like mentorship and coaching and even like tutoring type requests that I'm going to start standing up opportunities to do, mock interviews, resume reviews, things like that as well. And that's going to be an extension of this stuff as well. So more to come on that. I don't have hard details just yet, but if that's something you're interested in, then it's coming.
Okay, that's fantastic. I think for people who want to actually have a look at that module, you have a chance. Just put in hashtag TMB Analytics and you can do it. Make sure that the spelling is right of TMB Analytics. I see many double A's from Ron, from Kishan. So it's TMB Analytics. Just make sure, because you have the chance to have a look at the module, and you'll be the first ones. They'll be the first ones, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. What an opportunity. So moving forward, obviously, there was a question around analytics and people who inspire you by Aditi. So who are your top 3 people that inspire you in analytics field?
Oof.
It's a difficult one, I know.
That's difficult. So, and the reason that it's difficult is I get inspired by people I can actually see working, right? So I would say that there's been past and present leadership who have been inspirational to me in my journey. and I see the way that they think, I see the way that they operate, the way that they question. So I think that question was probably asked thinking that I was going to call out like influencers or people who are influential in the space. And I don't know that I would actually go that far. Um, because those people, they're awesome. I follow as many, every time that somebody new pops up, I'm going to follow them because I think there's a lot of good things happening in this space. But for me personally, to answer that question, it's going to have to be, oh man, you want like real names of people? Because I don't.
Okay, let's say at least people who you might watch their YouTube videos. Let's make it a little easy for you.
um,
YouTubers.
well, no. So I'll go ahead and answer the way that I was going to answer,
Wow.
which is to say that I would say that the first person who really inspired me was the first person who really interviewed me and who brought me on to my first commercial banking role. And the reason this person inspired me was because I think I talk about this in one of my videos where he asked me a question that was so textbook. It was, what is the current ratio?
Mhm.
And anybody who's involved in finance or any of that, you would know that it's a very simple calculation: current assets over current liabilities. And so that was my answer. I was pretty young, inexperienced, and I told him, "Oh, it's current assets over current liabilities." And he's like, "No, but what is it? What is it? What does
Hmm.
it mean? What is it? What is the point?" And I was just dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say. And he pointed at me and told me, "You know, your problem is you think you know everything, but you don't know why."
Oh
And
my.
it hit me so hard. This was an interview, by the way. So uh, after this, I got the job, and from that point, I was just inspired to. I realized that, oh my God, this textbook means nothing. Got to get in the real world. So that was inspiring. That was thing number one. Then I would say the next one would have been my manager when I got in at Travelocity, and just a very strong yet soft-spoken, approachable CFO who's crazy smart, just really supportive, knew a lot of things, knew the direction, knew the path, saw where we were headed, and just was a good overall coach and person. I take that very, very seriously. And
Mhm.
then I would say the last, like I could go on and on and on. So I'm just going to leave it at three because I don't want
Yeah.
this to be a 6 hour session and have everybody leave. But this one, anybody who actually knows me who's listening might find this a little bit surprising. But I had a manager who, she really believed in me and she really pushed me hard. And the way that she pushed was painful at times. But in retrospect, I understand her methods. I understand what she was getting at, and she really pushed me to become ultimately the leader that I am today.
Wow.
And I take a lot of things away from the things that she taught me. So there's that. And I could go
So
on and
it's
on.
wow. So it's these are the real people who have valued in your career, and they value a lot to you. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Awesome.
think it's important to highlight that too, is that these journeys, um, I talk about, I went from junior to this to that to this to that. It's like you don't hear about all like the jobs I applied to and didn't get, or promotions I didn't land, or bad bosses who I just didn't resonate with, right? But you take lessons away from each of those things, and I think it's important to be honest and
Yeah.
look back at those things and find extract value where you can. Even if it was a bad
Very true.
experience, there's value to be found.
That's so true, and that's actually pretty awesome because it kind of resonates very well with many of them. If you ask me, there are people who are around me who inspire me every day. So those are the people who I would say are my inspiration, and it does make sense. So Matt, since we were talking about the courses, there were a few comments for you, which it looks like a great course, such a shortage of good training out there. So I think you're doing a fantastic work. Harsh wanted to know the link where they can join the workshop. So it's the same one, tmbanalytics.com.
Yeah, so slash free training. That's going to be the
Okay.
one where you can go and get access to my free foundational mini course. So that's going
Okay.
to walk you through what does it mean to be an analyst, what are the types of analysts, companies that hire analysts, the career path, and a few other things. So go check that out, tmbanalytics.com/free training. again, that'll get you on my mailing list. So when you ultimately
Yeah.
want to sign up for the course, that's how you're going to find out about it.
Okay, fantastic. Since we're talking about courses, I know that you are a trainer. So when you start training, what's your basic focus on, and what do most of your trainings, uh, obviously you have analytics interested students obviously signing up for your course, but is it just limited to that, or does it have the focus is kind of huge, and not only limiting to people who are wanting to learn more about analytics, but it's about something more?
I think I understand the question. So what I focus on in the training is it's the classic see a need, fill a need. So I see needs in the marketplace where the big sexy trainings that everybody's signing up for and certificates that they're signing up for are providing hard technical skill training.
Right.
And then you've got people now. It's starting to catch on where people are talking about soft skills, like, oh, we got to train the soft skills, which are
Exactly.
inherently more difficult to train, certainly in a virtual situation. So the gap that I'm trying to fill with the current training is the contextual. It's neither hard nor soft. I call it like necessary for people
Mhm.
to have that rounded exposure and know exactly what it is they're getting into and how to navigate that. So
True.
I want to paint the picture, make it really memorable and understanding the situations that you're going to encounter, have an understanding of why the things are the way that they are, so that you can ultimately make better decisions for yourself. So this workshop in particular, again, I'm trying to demystify and show this is what happens on the other side of the table and behind the curtain and before you walk in the room and after you walk out of the room. This is the things that people do. It's important for you to understand this, and here's why. And this is what you can do to make sure that you're positioned the best way that you can be positioned. So I'm trying to fill all of those gaps, and it might sound a little convoluted the way I'm explaining it, but I
I think,
promise there's
yeah.
a method. There's a method to the madness.
No, it's always good to learn about behind the scenes as well, because it shouldn't be limited to something what we are looking at, because like there are plain questions about if you need to be a finance person if you want to get into analytics. Such myths need to be cleared, and I think your course kind of gets those things very much upfront, that no, you don't need to have a background in finance, or maybe XYZ. So those things kind of help. And thanks for that answer. We have a question around that from Manisha. What is one of the most challenging projects you have come across in years in the field of analytics? Any learning? Interesting.
Building a team from scratch. So that's probably not the answer that you're looking for. You're probably looking for something more tactical, like what was an actual
Mm.
analytical project, which I could probably answer. I'll think about that for a second. But I would say the challenging project has literally been coming into an organization with nothing and being told, we want to do analytics. Go, ready, set, go. So
Exactly. And then building a team as well.
and
So,
then building a team. So there's the hiring process. So all
oh
of that
my.
stuff is very challenging, not to be taken lightly. I've been fortunate again that I've been able to do this at 3 companies at this point. So I have a
Wow.
little bit of a process now, but really you have to come into an organization and immediately build rapport. If you don't have rapport with your peers, your fellow departmental leaders, then you're not going to get very far. So they have to understand that you're there to support them. I see analytics as a very supportive role in that you're
Mm.
supporting the ultimate drive of the business. So it has to start at the top down. There has to be initiative and push for, we want to make smarter decisions as an organization. Therefore, we've got this team. They're going to support you. I think people have a stigma sometimes around, particularly finance, but also analytics folks, where, oh, they're just going to, lift up the rug and show off all the dust that we swept under there. No, that shouldn't be the point. That should never be the point. They are not the people coming in to point fingers. They're the people trying to come in and shine a light and help make better decisions. So if you can come in and
Mm.
get these department people on your side by recognizing that, hey, I'm here for you. So what are your challenges? What are things? Because then you get the buy-in up front. you're speaking their language, they see that
Right.
you're there to support, then it's much more easy when you go back to the rest of the leadership and go, okay, this team needs that, this team needs that, we have these systems in place, we need a resource dedicated to this, and here's why, because that's a big fish that we need to fry. And then over here we could probably join these two things, and then this would be what that looks like. And you paint that picture of the future state, and then you start to execute. So those are challenging initiatives. I think project wise, man, I think anything where there's a lot of dollars on the line, it's just inherently challenging. So I would say there was an instance where I came into an organization and there was little to no visibility to how the company was executing to contract, meaning this wasn't a problem necessarily for customers, rather it was a problem for the company not understanding how much risk they were at as far as, hey, we've got these contractual agreements, are we actually performing to that, or are we leaving money on the table? So coming in and then, connecting all the dots, finding the resources and illuminating that was a big push, but it ultimately saved millions of dollars in a variety of ways. So
Exactly.
sorry I'm being vague, but I also don't want to get
no, but I think these are the real examples, right? From building a team from scratch to something where the project's kind of where there's money on the line. It kind of obviously matters, and that's what analytics is all about. It's the big game. When you get into the game, you'll know how far you can go. So it does make sense. A very nice question from Manisha. And also, before I get to the question from Mike and Neeraj, I have a question for you. Since you are in the analytics field, and obviously, what according to you are the best tools for data analysis? I know it's a tricky question.
I love this question because it gives me a chance to get on my pulpit. I am a very firm tool agnostic individual. The right tool is the right tool, and it's so. What I tend to preach is it's important to understand the tools that are out there and what they're good at. I'm not going to tell someone that they need to be an expert in every single tool. I want you to understand what each tool can do, what it does well, what are its limitations, and then depending on the request, you're going to take a tool off of the shelf. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I think that knowing and being able to use Excel, look, everybody goes crazy about Python and all these things, and that's great, but most organizations still operate on Excel. So you're going to get into companies and they're going to go like, that's cool, I don't want you using that program on our hardware, so here's an Excel file, go do work. I think that it's the biggest bang for your buck that you can have. Susan's saying amen to that, so I guess I'm preaching to the choir potentially, but no, seriously, hate if you want, I don't care. This is what I've experienced at Fortune 50 companies all the way down to startups, right? So, and yes, get the basics first. I think Susan's on a roll here. So that's the way that I view Excel, right? It is the basics. It's valuable, it's bang for your buck, and you start to understand basic data manipulation, basic data structures. It's a great way to clean data quickly, small data. But I also view it as sort of like the 3D printer of analytics, where rapid prototyping. Okay, so you get a request, somebody asks for something, you got to bust it out and be able to email it. Great, throw it in Excel, create something, and then if they like it, they go, great, can I get that every month or every week or whatever? Now you start looking at other tools for automation and basically productionizing whatever it is that you created, and then you don't have to manually do that anymore. So again, it's like rapid prototyping for something that you got to do, then set up your Python automagical, extract ETL processes and all that kind of stuff, and busting it out and delivering it without having to lift a muscle. And then you can focus on bigger, better things, right? So I think Excel is where it starts, but then at the end of the day, whether you use R or Python or Tableau versus Power BI, I don't give a crap. Know what they are and what they do and what they're good at. Use the right tool for the job.
Wow, definitely a great answer. I know it's diplomatically right, but it is something what it is, because if you look at the users as well, Excel wins everywhere. So it does
Yeah.
make sense. Thanks for that answer, Matt. Okay, now I'll quickly go on to Mike's question. In order to get best analytics, what is the best thing to focus on first? Nice one, Matt. Mike.
The question. What is the question being at? Like, one of my favorite questions to ask is, what is the problem we're trying to solve? So, and a lot of times it doesn't even come as a question. I already mentioned, like, somebody may just walk by your desk and go like, "Hey, what's up with XYZ?" And then they run off to a meeting, and that was the request. So, to get best at analytics, you got to understand your audience, the way that they communicate, the
Very
type
true.
of questions that they ask, and what's important to them. So that doesn't just come like this. You don't just walk into an organization and go like, "You're the marketing guy, so you think like this, and you're the finance guy, so you think like that." Yeah, sure, they may fall into buckets, but everybody's got their nuance. Everybody's got
Mhm.
their style. Everybody's got their communication methods. So, getting in and getting to know your peers or the people who you're supporting is like the first thing that you need to do. Building that rapport and understanding how they communicate and what's important to them. That
Very
way,
true.
you've got that framing, that perspective when they ask questions that you know what they're ultimately looking for, and you can get more quickly at addressing their question. I think that was probably completely not expected for this answer, but I think that's the most important thing is brushing up on getting to know people and understanding
Mm.
the way they operate.
I think it's a little different where you answered understanding your audience first, because obviously it's the first game where even marketing comes in, even HR comes in, even like the human resource. You need to understand people, and then you get into analytics, and that's very true. So nice one, Matt. Great answer. And moving on, obviously I had a question about data analysts.
Understanding
So
people.
People Skills by
Yeah.
Gilbert. I know
Yeah.
it's a fantastic book. Love it.
Mhm.
Awesome. So, Matt, you know about data analyst. What are the usual challenges that you see that data analysts kind of face in their day-to-day job?
There's a lot of them. I think the biggest one that maybe gets some love is going to be the classic analysis paralysis. Not quite,
Hmm.
no, like getting off track. It's not even like the treading water, it's the not realizing that you're treading water. So some people have the opposite issue. They just like they don't even QA their stuff. They think they know the question. They don't ask follow-up questions. They bust stuff out, and that is not a good analyst, right? Somebody who just churns out crap. But then you've got people who are very cerebral. They like to put a lot of thought into things, and then they get caught up in their own emotion and going down a rabbit hole or seeing something that looks interesting. And those are usually good
Yeah.
analysts that just need to rein in their superpower.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing that you can do in that situation is train yourself to recognize when you're getting off track. And the way that I've had to overcome this, or that I've tried to overcome it, I don't know that I'll ever fully escape it, is always keep the question front of mind or right there somewhere where it's like, okay, is this going to help me answer the question, yes or no? If it's off track or out of scope, stop what you're doing, make a little note so you can feel all warm and fuzzy. I'll come back to this later, and then get back on track and make sure that you're marching toward an answer to the question that's actually being asked, and you're not just running down a completely unrelated rabbit hole. If it is a related
Mm.
rabbit hole, then so be it. Just make sure that you're not just going down, 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 and you're never going to come back up for air and share anything. I think
Wow.
that's a challenge that affects, I would say, most analysts at some point or another.
Very true, and great one there, Matt. Also, since we're talking about a lot about analysts, about courses, I had a question which is kind of generic, but yeah, still, because most of the people ask me when they want to get into, you know, data analytics course or analytics course, what's the best approach, or what's something that they should look, since you are creating a course yourself, what would you suggest for people to look at if they want to sign up for a course, or if what can they what are you offering which is different from the other courses? So these are two questions. Obviously, one about what they should actually look into when they are wanting to get into a course, and what is something that you are offering different, Matt. So, yeah.
Yeah. So if I sign up for a course, thing number one, I always either Google or go straight to LinkedIn and look up the instructor. I want to know what this person's credentials are. To me,
Definitely.
that's because, look, again, we've talked about it, like all of these new businesses popping up. I think uh, there's blood in the water. It's very much people see it and think like, oh, I'm going to get rich selling courses. It's like, it's a lot of work. But even
Very
then, you've
true.
got some people who are just so focused on like trying to put out product, and they may or may not have the credentials to even necessarily be teaching. That's not to say that you can't learn from some of these people. You can always learn from anybody. You never really know, but I'm talking about big picture quality and impact that you're going to have. If this person either doesn't have the teaching credentials or the experiential background that is something that
Mhm.
you want to get, like if you were to just sit down and have coffee and you find out this person sitting next to you has their credentials, would you, pay them for their advice? Or would you just gladly listen to them talk and walk away? Maybe buy them a coffee or something like that. It's one of those things where I have chosen not to pull the trigger on certain courses when I look people up and I'm like, and this person's got 3 years of experience. How are they claiming to be an expert in XYZ or something
Wow.
like that? So um
Exactly.
not trying to crap on anybody's parade. It's just one of my peeves. And it was also another motivator for me to get things stood up when I did, was because like, look, I'd like to think that I do have some valuable experience to some degree, right?
Exactly.
So maybe I have some candle to hold in that space.
Mm.
The other side of things, actually, what was the second question? It was about
It's about your course. How are you putting it different from others?
oh, of course. So um, you know what? I think that the only thing that I would highlight outside of, I said I see an opportunity in providing certain context and filling different holes that I see everywhere, but it's more, look, not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to like the way I communicate, my style. That is totally fine. That is
I don't
totally
agree.
fine. But if you are interested, you like my approach, some people do, then that's something that I offer that nobody else can offer, is myself, right? So
Wow.
um, there's a quote, I'm probably going to mess it up because that's what I do. I mess up quotes, but it's something like, be yourself because everybody else is already taken, right?
Wow.
So I'm just going to be myself, and you can like it or not. And you can, be interested in my experience. Again, look me up, call me out, look me up on LinkedIn, look at my experience. If you think based on the things that I've done in my
Mm.
career that I'm someone that you can learn from, then by all means, check it out. Go go
Wow.
check it out.
Definitely, and Vineet agrees. And also for the last previous question, Johan says, "Great advice, Matt. Write the request down and check the potential solutions against it to make sure the solution answers the question asked, and that will help you keep focused." So great one,
Yeah.
nice one, Johan. Very well.
I want to expand on that real quick, if you don't mind. Is
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
because she said that much better than I did, but what she's describing is exactly the way that I would like to approach it, which is when you're actually gathering the request, to make sure that you're actually meeting the deliverable. What I tend to do before I walk out of a meeting is go, okay, we're going to sketch this out. I want to make sure that I'm going to paint the deliverable for you, and you're going to go, yes, that's what I want, or no, I actually wanted this or that, or so we form that punchline together, the end
Right.
deliverable together, and then keeping that in right in front of you is what should hopefully steer you on the right path. Again, the more ambiguous, the more open ended that the request is, the less you did up front to make clear what the request is, the more likely you are to spiral. So thank you, Joan, for adding that. That was really, again, you said it better than I did. So
Yeah, fantastic one. Nice one, John. So before I take on the last question, I had one question. What's next for TMB Analytics?
oh man. Well, I think we kind of talked about it, but it's more I have to really hunker down and muscle through getting the interview workshop out there, because again, I've been working on it for far too long. I want to get it live so that I can start getting feedback from people. And I'm a big believer in, letting the people sort of dictate what I produce, because I may think I know what you want, but I think you guys know what you want better than I do. So getting that feedback. If people like hate specific components or they want me to go deeper into specific components, I can do that, right? I can
Right.
build on those things. And if certain things are out of scope for that specific workshop, then boom, we've got another module for the broader course. So what comes next is wrapping this first one up and then
Mhm.
plotting out how to get to the next point, which is I'm really excited about this. I've been thinking about it for a very long time, but I want to build an actual practicum where there's going to be um, hands-on coursework that walks you through different
Wow.
analytical requests, but there's also going to be an option to do it actually with a cohort and coached by me, and it's going to be as if you're working in a department with me. So I don't have a lot
Wow.
more details that I'm ready to share yet, but just imagine it's like a virtual team or a virtual internship where
Exactly.
we're actually doing calls once a week, going over work. You're going to have an opportunity to supervise other people as well. So I've got big, super crazy ideas for it, but I think it's going to work, and I think it's going to be super fun for people
Oh, yes.
who want to sign up.
Definitely. All the best for that, Matt, because it sounds very interesting where you are actually giving that virtual art to someone and you are out there to explain them things. So nothing like it.
Yeah.
I have never heard such type of coaching or training or courses if we sign up for. So anyone who signs up for your courses are lucky to have you as a trainer. So nice one, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, so quickly taking on the last question for the day, and for everyone, we'll be actually announcing the winners. So don't forget to put in hashtag TMB Analytics to win Analytics Interview Secrets Workshop. If you want to win it, just put hashtag TMB Analytics in the chat and we'll announce the winners. Okay, quickly taking a very important question from Neeraj Sattal. Matt, do you think good analytics folks should know the business really well and have the technical skills to model the raw data into clean, well-defined data sets to step up?
Yes. Yes, I do. So I'm going to kind of break apart the question here. So
Yeah.
he says, good analytics folks, right? So good analytics folks should know the business well. Yes, I agree. Good analytics folks should understand the business model. They should understand the business that they're in. This is one of the things
Mm,
that I like to promote as well, is the idea that one of the first things that you should do when you get in a company is make sure you know how the company makes money. A lot of people, it
right.
doesn't even matter what field you're in. They want to get into a company. They go straight to their department, straight to their role. They put on their blinders and like, this is my job, with no general understanding of how the business operates, how it makes money, what's important, right? Again,
Right.
follow the money. So when you get in, analyst or any other role, I don't care, understand at least how the business makes money. Okay. So
Mm,
that's thing number one. And then the technical skills. So we're talking about modeling raw data into clean. So you have to understand data hygiene. You have to understand what's important. If you've got a request that requires specific data, understanding that how the data is being collected, which is going to help you understand the types of nuance or things that you need to account for when you're working with the data. Um, well-defined data sets to set up. Yeah, I mean, it gets into every company is going to have their own process and giving different types of access to data, and you're going to have to figure out how to work with that. And the technical
yeah.
skills obviously are going to be valuable to be able to take data from raw to some sort of a deliverable, right? That's all part of the process.
Awesome. I think that definitely answers Neeraj's question and a great question from Neeraj. Thank you,
Yeah,
Neeraj,
thank
for
you
that
for that
question.
question.
All right. So it's time for the giveaway. Let's do the interesting giveaway. We go. So analytics interview secret question, right?
The
All
suspense is
right.
killing me.
Yeah. So all the best, everyone. For those who are just joining in or who don't know what we're doing, we're giving away analytics interview secrets workshop by Matt, and this will you just need to put in TMB analytics to join the race. So let's do it. Let's do the first one here. All the best. Let's see who's the first winner, and we'll get back to you. All right. Congratulations, Nikhil.
Nikhil.
And
All right.
yes. Nikhil is the first one, and here we go because we promised two winners, so we'll do it again. I see another entry coming in. Is it Nikhil again?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Harsh.
Harsh.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome, Harsh. Nikhil,
Congrats, guys.
congratulations. This is fantastic. And Matt, thank you for being on the Ravit Show. This was superb. Trust me, talking about analytics, I can have a version 2.0 with you, obviously, in the coming months. And when you are closer to the course launch of your other things, that the ideas that you have.
Yep.
So happy to host you again. And I never ask my guest on air about coming to the Ravit Show again, but you were definitely one of the best guests, I would say. And talking, you have such great impact on analytics. You have such great experience, obviously. So all the best to you. And also, before we wrap up things, I would want to know if people want to reach out to you, which is the best place, and if they want to book you, where can they book you?
Yeah. So I think the three things, maybe four, that I would highlight just really quickly. Thing number one, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, throw me a connection request, please. I'd love to connect. I like meeting new people. Don't be shy. Send me a note, ask me a question. I'll do my best. I anticipate maybe more than normal. So I'll do my best to work through those requests. But yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message there. If you want to send me a direct email, I may regret this, but matt@tmbanalytics.com. That's my email address if you want to shoot me a note. Check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Matt Brattin. That's where I've got, there it is. So just adding new content every week. I've actually got an interview tips video that's in queue at the moment. I'm just waiting to go live once I know when the workshop will be published, which is going to be very soon, hopefully in the next couple days. And then outside of that, I think that's the best information I can give you to reaching out.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Matt. And people who want to actually learn more about things, this is Matt's YouTube channel. You can. I know we didn't speak a lot around it, but one question before you leave, Matt. I'm sorry. It's again one last question, definitely. So one thing you love about your YouTube channel, and you would want, why would you want people to subscribe to it?
Man, I have fun with it. I think that's the part of, like, people may not know this about me, but well, most people probably don't. But I was a weird kid in high school in that my friends, we would like make videos for fun. So we had no technology. I've got a friend who's insanely talented that would basically make those videos, and now he does it for a living. So I've had this influence like throughout my life of, liking video, liking making videos and things like that. So when I made the decision to start working on my YouTube channel, I came in, I got his consult, I got, good equipment, the basic equipment that I needed. So I put a lot of work into the videos. And like I said, I just put my first video live on January 31st, I think it was. And
exactly.
So it's growing very quickly, and I think that's a testament to the quality of the content. I do my best to respond to all the comments and questions. I want to build that community so badly, and I'm doing it by being consistent, by sharing things that I wish that I had known, answering questions that I see a lot. I also spend time on like Reddit and the analytics sub forums, and I see the questions that people ask all the time. And so I'm trying to build content that's relevant and that's high quality.
And you're doing all the right things. Trust me, Matt, and all the best for that. It was fantastic having you on the show, and thanks for all the explanation. Thank you very much. See you, Matt.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.